Everything started with a love so strong, it crossed centuries. But even the strongest love story must one day face its final chapter. Before the heartbreak, before the battles, before the time travel, there was Claire. A nurse in 1945, returning from the shadows of war. She believed her life was settling back into normal, but fate had other plans. A single touch of an ancient stone in the Scottish Highlands pulled her away from everything she knew, away from her husband, away from her time, into a world ruled by clans, kings, and conflict. That's where she met him, James Fraser. Not a man of her world, but one who would come to own her heart in ways no one ever had. He wasn't just a soldier or a Highlander. He was her anchor in a time that didn't belong to her. Their love didn't come easily. It was forged in danger, in trust, in survival. Claire was a woman from the future, and Jamie was a man shaped by the past. But their souls spoke the same language. As the days turned into years, their bond only grew stronger. They faced enemies, both from outside and within. They lost children, found new families, and bled together for causes they didn't always believe in. Still, they chose each other, again and again. Not because it was easy, but because their love made the pain worth it. Even when Claire was ripped away from him, dragged back to her time, pregnant and alone, Jamie let her go. Not out of weakness, but out of love. He believed he would never see her again. And still, he waited. For 20 long years, he carried her memory like a scar on his heart, and when she came back, older but still burning with the same fire, Jamie didn't hesitate. The years didn't matter. Time couldn't erase what they had built. Their reunion wasn't just emotional, it was a promise. That no matter what history threw at them, they would fight for their love until the end. Their story wasn't perfect. It was messy, painful, even tragic at times. But it was real. That's what made it unforgettable. Claire and Jamie weren't just lovers. They were soulmates who challenged fate itself. Now, as the end draws near, we remember where it all began. A stone circle, a fall through time, and a love that refused to break. The beginning wasn't just the start of a story. It was the spark that lit a fire still burning after 8 long seasons. The question is, how do you say goodbye to something that never really ends? You don't follow a story like Outlander for 8 seasons without feeling every heartbeat, every goodbye, and every impossible choice. This wasn't just a love story. This was a storm, stretching across centuries, shaking the earth beneath. It leaving no one untouched. When Claire first fell through time, we thought it was an accident. A twist of fate. But looking back now, it feels like destiny had always planned it. As if time itself needed her and Jamie to exist. Together they've witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the weight of revolution, and the silence of loss. But somehow, through it all, they held on to each other. They didn't just survive history, they shaped it. Remember the quiet grief in Jamie's eyes when he sent Claire back through the stones to save her life? Or the way her voice trembled when she whispered his name after 20 years apart? Those weren't just scenes. They were the kind of moments that sit in your chest for days. Moments that feel real, like you lived them too. And then came the children, their legacy. Brianna, born of 2 worlds. Roger, a voice of music in a world of gunfire. Young Ian, carrying both tragedy and strength in his bones. Every one of them has walked their own painful road. And yet, the roots always come back to the same place, a red-headed Highlander and the woman who fell through time to find him. Together, Claire and Jamie have crossed oceans, fled from war, healed the wounded, and even built a home in the new world. But peace never lasts in this story. Just when you think they've earned rest, history knocks again. And this time, it's louder than ever. The journey hasn't been a straight line. It's been torn apart, rewound, and rewritten. From Scotland to France, from Caribbean storms to the fires of American rebellion, every setting brought new danger. But it also brought us closer to the heart of who they are. What makes Outlander different isn't just the time travel or the romance. It's that we've aged with them. We've watched them grow old together, grow deeper, They're not the same people we met in season 1, and neither are we. This isn't just about what's happened. It's about everything they've carried to get here. The guilt, the joy, the rage, the love, and now, with one final season left, it all feels heavier. Like the last few pages of a great book you never want to end. Because when you've walked through time with someone, when you've seen what they've seen, you don't just watch the story, you become part of it. There's a moment in every great story when you realize the end isn't coming, it's already here. Outlander Season 8 isn't just the final chapter, it's the reckoning, the breath held too long. The promise whispered years ago, finally coming due. The world around Claire and Jamie is no longer just dangerous, it's breaking apart. The American Revolution isn't a rumor anymore, it's here, loud, violent, unforgiving. And with it comes choices that even time can't undo. Every step forward now carries the weight of finality. Every look, every word, feels like a farewell waiting to happen. Jamie Fraser, the man who has bled for every cause but his own, now faces the one war he cannot escape. History demands his allegiance, but at what cost? Fighting for freedom means risking everything he loves, including Claire, especially Claire. Because as the future catches up with them, they both know something they've never dared say aloud. Time may no longer be on their side. Claire has always been the one who knows what's coming. But now, even she is lost in the fog of fate. The lines between past and present are beginning to blur. The stones are silent. The future, uncertain. And the fear that's been growing quietly in her heart is starting to speak. What if this is the moment she can't save him? Their love has survived time itself. But this season, it will face its most human trial, letting go. Because sometimes, the hardest thing isn't fighting fate. It's accepting it, and they're not alone. Bree and Roger are no longer just time. Travelers, they're parents now. Dreamers, builders. They're fighting for a future their children might never see. Young Ian stands at a crossroads of loyalty and identity, torn between the blood of his family and the path he's chosen for himself. Every character we've come to love is staring down a question none of them want to ask. How much more can they give before they have nothing left? Season 8 isn't about tying loose ends into a neat bow. Outlander has never been neat. It's raw, wild, honest. This final season promises heartbreak, yes, but also beauty, closure, truth. And those quiet, sacred moments between two people who have given their lives to each other over and over again. We're not just watching a goodbye. We're watching history hold its breath and love refuse to die. Close your eyes. Can you hear it? The quiet between two heartbeats. The silence before a cannon's roar. The moment before goodbye. That's where Outlander Season 8 lives, in the in-between. Not in grand battles or sweeping landscapes, but in the small, soul-deep moments that only come when a story is about to end. You can feel it in the way Jamie holds Claire's gaze just a second longer than before. In the way his hand hesitates, when he brushes a strand of her hair from her face. It's in her smile, not full of certainty anymore, but layered with memories, like she's already begun to miss him. They're not saying it out loud, but they both know. This time is different. The war has arrived, and there's no more running. No more illusions of safety in some far-off future. For Jamie, it's not just about fighting the British. It's about standing at the edge of his own legacy. What will he leave behind if he falls? What words? What truth? For Claire, the woman who has mended bones, hearts, and timelines, this may be the one wound she can't heal. Her hands have saved lives across centuries, but now they tremble. Not from fear, from knowing that time, at last, is no longer hers to command. And then there's Bree, a daughter born of two times, two worlds. She's no longer the frightened woman unsure of where she belongs. She's a mother now, a fighter, the bridge between yesterday and tomorrow. But even she can feel it. The past is closing its door. What comes next may not include the people she loves most. Roger, whose faith has been tested over and over, now stands as the steady voice amid chaos. A man who once sang to feel strong now sings to hold his family together. And young Ian, still searching for where he fits, begins to understand that sometimes your place is not a destination, but the people you choose to bleed for. Even the land feels like it's holding its breath. The air heavy with memory. The Fraser home, once a place of peace, now echoes with ghosts, not of the dead, but of moments slipping away. And yet, within all of this sorrow, there is something beautiful, because love, real love, does not fear the end. It cherishes every second before it. This season will not spare your heart. It will break it wide open, not with cruelty, but with honesty. Because saying goodbye to these characters means facing everything they've meant to us. They've held our grief, our longing, our hope. They've helped us believe that love can survive anything, even time. And so, in these final hours, we are given the gift of seeing them not as heroes, but as human. Flawed, brave, tender, tired, alive. They have given everything. And now, we must watch them choose who to save, what to fight for, and how to say goodbye. This is it. The slow pull of the bowstring, the final breath before the storm breaks, the last time we see them, not as characters, but as people we've carried with us for years. It begins quietly. Claire's voice, soft, cracked with memory, whispers. A line we've heard before, but now it cuts deeper. I've lived through war and lost everything I ever knew, but I was never truly afraid. Until now. Cue the music. Not triumphant, not tragic, just true. A melody that aches. A slow piano builds beneath flashes of everything that's still left unsaid. Jamie on horseback, his face hardened with resolve, eyes scanning the smoky horizon. Claire in the shadows, clutching a letter sealed with wax, her hand trembling. Bree, standing in the doorway, watching her parents from a distance, knowing she may never see them again. Roger, holding the hands of his children, praying without words. Young Ian, bloodied and breathless, whispering an apology to someone we can't yet see. The montage quickens. A musket fired in slow motion, an empty crib rocking on the porch, a tear slipping down Claire's cheek. Jamie screaming in the chaos of battle, but his voice is drowned by silence, hands reaching for each other through smoke, almost touching. And then, darkness, silence. Then a voice, his voice, Jamie Fraser, steady and raw. If I were to die today, let it be for you. Let it be beside you, always. The screen fades into soft gold light, and over it, the words appear. One by one. Outlander. Season 8. The end begins a final swell of the Sky Boat song, slower than ever before. Haunting. Intimate. Then, a single heartbeat, and one last line, whispered like a prayer from Claire. Goodbye, but not forever. Fade to black.